you're going to be tuning into this weekend's fight, here's a tip. Check out my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. Upgrade your fight experience this weekend with the official sports betting partner of UFC. Are you new to DraftKings? Check this out. New customers that bet just $5 will instantly get $150 in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the code SONNEN. DraftKings, the crown is yours. That's right. New customers can bet just $5 on anything and receive $150 in bonus bets instantly. DraftKings is giving new customers a shot to get in on the action all night long. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. DraftKings is the one-stop shop for all things daily fantasy where you have the chance to win cash prizes. Don't miss out on all the action this week at DraftKings. Download the DraftKings app today. Sign up using dkng.co/Sonnen or through my promo code SONNEN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Jon Jones absolutely will not be fighting Alex Pereira. This news comes out. Now, I don't know if there's a case study that is either being rewritten or misunderstood more than Jon Jones' current stage of his career. And I don't believe that Jon understands it. Jon genuinely has his motivations and reason for fighting. And they're not as simple as you might think, which is championships and money. It's not as simple as that. And I know this because I know the wrestler's mindset. I know all of the matches and championships he pursued and all of the work that he put in when there was no shot of any money. I know that intrinsic value of being told by those around you, good job. You're the guy. And as simple as that might sound, that is all the greats need. As simple as that might sound. And the Olympics being 1 week ago will remind you of that, because that is all that they got. And they put their entire lives on hold to get that. The greats do not need a giant carrot dangled in front of them. Big, beautiful contracts. I'm sharing this with you because Jon's in a position where he feels he's being questioned. He can't figure it out. I haven't lost. The champion of 2 different divisions. I haven't lost. How are people questioning me? The part that Jon is forgetting. This was his wish. Jon set out with a plan 4 years ago. And that plan was very risky. It involved trying to win a world championship. And what he was willing to do to try to win that world championship is to give back a world championship. Could you even imagine being so good at something that you could give world titles away? Could you even imagine that concept? Like that would be your life accomplishment, right? And is for most. He was so above even the rare few that get there that he handed one back. But the reason he did it is you guys were no longer questioning him. And he wanted that. He liked being questioned. You guys, when he would walk into buildings, didn't have an anticipation for the main event because you didn't know which way it was going to go. He liked that. He preferred it when you did. Because when the whole thing was over, if you don't have either of those 2 ingredients, you would lose the ability to tell somebody, great job. That was awesome. Well done. And that is what he really wants. So he gives the title back. He takes 3 years. He puts on size. He comes into the division and takes on the guy that was the next best thing to Francis, which is who he thought he was going to fight. All right, he goes out and he walks through him and he makes it look easy. And then he turns to you guys, like every other fighter does, and says, what's the one? What's the one that you want to see? Now, he doesn't reveal to you as openly and tell you, because I would like you to tell me good job when it's done. I would like for somebody to think that I put effort in and took a big risk. He doesn't tell you that. He just says who's next, knowing that you would give him the hardest name. So you give him the guy that they say is the greatest heavyweight in UFC history. And Stipe is certainly one of them, but people say that there was some stat that Stipe has. And I believe it was the most title defenses And it was something small. It was only like 2 or 3. But because of that, right? And this is what you guys said. I'm reminding you what you said. You tell Jon that's the guy. Jon signs the contract to fight that guy. So somewhere along the way, Stipe is no longer your answer. In fact, if you could rewind to where you said, Steve, if you could rewind the tape and be able to give your answer, you would have changed it to Sergey Pavlovich. And I watched the news go around, and I watched all the guarantees and promises by everybody, including fighters and coaches and managers, that Jon would retire before he ever fought Sergey. Jon will do anything he can to avoid Sergey Pavlovich. And that in an instant by Tom Aspinall was turned off. That was turned off and Tom was inserted. And there wasn't a lot that Jon could do about it because he's got a contract to fight the guy who he initially asked you. Who did you want? Who is my biggest challenge? He's got a contract. You've got to see that through. So somewhere along the way of it being Tom Aspinall, Alex Pereira gets announced. And when Pereira gets announced, it's an interesting spot because Tom is actually busy. Tom's got Curtis Blades, and without knowing the outcome of that match, it added a little bit of steam to Pereira. Not to mention that would just be a dream fight to start with. So then when Tom's dance card becomes available again, for about a week it was all Tom, and then it started to come back to a little bit of Alex Pereira. And this topic starts to be out there. But the bottom line is you now have 3 guys the world wants to see Jon fight. And you're not putting none of you that have publicly said, Pereira, put him against Jones, or Tom Aspinall, put him against Jones. None of you are doing that from a perspective of, I think that's a great fight. None of you did it from a perspective of, I like Jon so much, I would like everybody to see how good he is. And I think he can showcase that against these guys. You put those guys in there because you think they can beat him. That's what this was about. That's okay. You don't need to apologize for that. But that's the part where Jon has forgotten. That's what Jon wanted. Jon right now is getting exactly what he wanted. The entire reason he went into this division was to have guys and have challenges that would give a perception to the audience of danger, of a threat. So now Jon's in the position, he's getting very frustrated. He's getting very frustrated that the athletes that people are saying they want to see Jon with is not the athlete they initially said, oh, and by the way, it's not the athlete that he's going to face next. I do think that there is a small amount of legs, and it's small, but it's out there, for Pereira versus Tom Aspinall. That's the one that you guys also want to see, but you're getting distracted and you don't understand that's the one that's actually available. So when you're talking about Pereira versus Jon Jones, the fact that Dana had to answer a question if Pereira would be fighting Jon Jones has a contract with Stipe. If you look at the 2 guys that are available, you do have Pereira and Tom. You would be very lofty to believe that you're going to get Jon Jones 3 more times. You've gotten Jon Jones 1 time in 4 years. It would be very lofty for you to believe you're going to get him 3 more. That you're going to get him Stipe, you're going to get him Pereira, you're going to get him Aspinall, and boy, after that, the book's written as though somebody else isn't still coming up. What I'm sharing for you, you're also going to get Jon more than once, right? I don't think you're going to get him 3. I can guarantee him you get him more than once. So what am I saying? You're going to get him twice. You're going to get him twice, and he's going to call it a career. Where you get it wrong is that you're being disrespectful to Stipe. That when you're talking about what's next for Jon, we're going to put Pereira and Aspinall together. That's where I was going with that. If you're going to get Jon twice and you can't get him with all 3, you have these guys fight, he takes on the winner, right? Like that's the way that is done. Very, very small legs, but not an issue that's dead. Pereira versus Aspinall is not an issue that's dead. I just want to remind you of that. And the reason it's so important, winner takes on Jon Jones. And before you think you created a problem by saying that, or you've disrespected Stipe, or counting out Stipe's chances. No, you're not understanding. Stipe's retiring after the fight. Let's just say for fun that you did Pereira and Aspinall, and the winner is going to take on Jon Jones. You don't say the winner is going to take on Jon or Stipe. No, it's still Jon Jones. If Jon wins, he's a champion. Of course, he's going to fight who's next. If Jon loses, Stipe retires, belt becomes vacated, Jon fights for the belt next. Either way, any way you want to do it, any outcome you get, the only thing that you can be assured of is Jon Jones's next 2 fights, which I assure you, you will get, are both going to be for the World Championship.